Hello and welcome to the Second Act community. I am Carrie and I am here to give you a little tidbit pieces of what is inside of my community. So if you're here, it's because something inside you, it's time for a change. Maybe life shifted. Maybe you shifted. Maybe you woke up one day and realized, I want more than this. I deserve more than this. Today, I'm going to walk you through a simple, powerful framework for reinventing yourself after 50 without any overwhelm, without pressure, without feeling like you're starting from scratch. You're not starting over, you're starting from experience. So, women in their second act don't reinvent from emptiness, we reinvent from wisdom. And here's what makes reinvention at this age so powerful. You know what you will no longer tolerate. You know what matters. You know you're not chasing approval anymore. You're ready for an alignment and not perfection. And you've survived enough to trust yourself. So say this out loud with me. I am not behind. I am becoming. So reinvention starts with being honest, not by judgment. So I need you to ask yourself, what season am I in right now? What feels heavy? What feels exciting? What am I craving more of? What am I craving less of? This is your you are here dot on this map. And you can't choose a destination until you know your location. So take a deep breath. You're allowed to be exactly where you are. Reinvention is not about fixing yourself. It's about becoming a woman you're meant to be next. So ask yourself, what do I want to be in my second act? What does she believe? How does she speak to herself? What does she no longer apologize for? What does she wake up excited about? Identity comes from action. When you choose who you're becoming, your choices then start aligning automatically. So reinvention doesn't happen in big leaps. It happens in tiny, consistent steps. Your tiny momentum plan includes that you have one habit to start, something small, something doable, and meaningful. So, an example would 10 minutes of morning clarity at a time. Like for me, I get up every morning, my feet hit the ground, I do stretches, um, and then grab my phone and get on YouTube and I look for a motivation piece that is 20 to 40 minutes long from mainly Tony Robbins, Simon Sinek, Mel Robbins, just something motivational to get me in the right mindset for the day. And I listen to that. And then I go and I kind of do a morning journal every morning, and I write down, I choose to today to be the woman I'm becoming. I write down three things that I am grateful for. I talk about what is aligned with myself, and I go through that, and then I have made me a deck of 120 different affirmations. I got them in a baggie, and I just reach in and pull one out for the day. And like today's affirmation I got was I am I am magnetic for aligned success. I am magnetic for aligned success. So that was my affirmation today. So, and then I write that three times, and then around lunchtime, I write it six times, and then I have a night routine as well, and I go through and debrief for the day. So there's just different things. So one habit, to start, and that is my habit. And then you have one habit that you need to stop, something that's draining your energy. For an example, saying yes when you mean no. I That was one habit I had to stop because I was always saying yes when I should have been saying no. And, that was one thing that was hard for me to do, but I have stopped doing that. So, and then one action that moves you forward. So, like learning a new skill or joining a community or starting something simple in the online path. That is just something simple. I mean, something I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to learn this, and that's it. These small steps compound because as you have these small steps go, then momentum builds. And momentum is not found, it is over time. And a lot of people in the online space, they have the shiny object syndrome, and they'll sit there and do that, and then they'll move to this or they'll move to that. And every time you move, your momentum goes to the ground and you're starting all over again. So when you start something, you got to stay consistent. And I like to say you stay consistent for 90 days and track your progress throughout those 90 days. And then after 90 days, then realign and take your data that you've collected and then make the shift that you need to make or the pivot that you need to make. Don't sit there and keep bouncing back and forth because every time you bounce, you your momentum goes right back down and you start stacking again. So that is one of the biggest um, faults that a lot of people make is they keep bouncing back around because you start building momentum and then it's not working. It's not working. You don't sit back and look and say, "Hey, what can I do better?" It's just it's not working and you move on to something else. But it has to keep you have to keep that momentum up you know and that's why, like I say, keep doing it for 90 days. Collect all your data on a weekly basis and then do a pivot if you need to after 90 days. So most women over 50, they don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're carrying way too much. I was just on a thing yesterday about 10 money blocks, and guilt. Do you feel guilty? Are you carrying a lot of guilt? And guilt is a feeling. You have to get rid of that feeling. Are you fear of judgment? What does it matter what people think? Are they paying your bills? That is, are you afraid that somebody's going to see you online? Feeling, mindset. Are they paying your bills? The fear of starting over. I mean, that is a fear. But I started over because I have a purpose that I want to help people and I want to love on people and I want to get them in the right mindset so they can be successful. That is just like my affirmation. I am magnetic for aligned success. And that was perfect for me today because that is what I want to do is I have a purpose to help people get unstuck and get them on the right path. Are you fear of being too old? Age is just a number. It's what you feel inside. If you feel it in your heart, that is what, if you have a destination to help other people as well, get out there and do it. And the fear of not knowing enough. There's enough resources out there, just like you can have your one thing that you're going to do a day, your one small step. Learn something new. So that is what do I want to say? That is why you get over the fear of judgment, starting over, being too old, and the fear of not knowing enough. So I want you to say this clearly. You are not too old. You are too valuable to stay stuck. Release the idea that you need permission because you don't. So reinvention is not meant to be done alone. So you need a community. You need a mentor. You need a place to be seen. You need a place to grow, a place to be held accountable. Women thrive in circles, not silos. So that is why I created the Second Act community. And that's why it matters so much because it gives women a place to rise together. And that is inside that community, people are going to be coming in at different chapters of their life. You know, and if you start in your first chapter, you cannot compare yourself to somebody that is in chapter 5 of their life. And that's where you just learn from each other. So inside the community, if you're struggling with something, put it in the community under, general discussion or a win, anytime you have a win, I don't care, big or small, if you gained a lead today, put that in the win. That is where we all sit here and support each other, and that's how we all grow. So, with that being said, your second act is not a comeback, it's an awakening. And it's the moment you stop surviving and start creating. If you're ready to reinvent yourself with support, structure, and sisterhood, come join us inside the second act community. This is where we'll dig deeper, a lot deeper inside the community. And you don't have to do it alone. Your next chapter is waiting. So if you like what you're hearing here and would like to expand more, I would be more than happy to have you inside my community to where we can grow together, and once that community becomes 30 people or more, then it'll become a paid community because then I will start having guest speakers come in and speak with the community to get them even more information to help them even be more, get them unstuck. And that is what I am here to do, is to help you with any avenue you are within your journey so we can make everybody successful. So until next time, have a blessed day.